Phil here again with the second in our reflections on the sacrament of Eucharist, what we believe about the sacrament of Eucharist. All part of the larger series, what do we believe about the sacraments? It's no wonder, having said what I said in the first one of these two reflections, that the sacrament of Eucharist is at the very heart of the life of the Church. It's the center of our life of faith, and it's the spiritual food that sustains us for our journey. And because of its central place in our life as Catholics, we believe that it's so very important that we participate in celebrating Eucharist as frequently as we can. And during this pandemic, because I'm taping this during the time of the pandemic, so many people have told me how just so conflicted they are with having to miss the opportunity of a Eucharistic experience. Not only just being there with other believers, but just having that moment of participating in the body and blood of Christ. And I get it, because Eucharist is so central, so foundational for us. In the letters of Paul and in Luke's Acts of the Apostles, we hear how the early Christians gathered for the breaking of the bread on the first day of the week, our Sunday. In the course of the Church's history, this practice eventually led to the celebration of Eucharist on weekdays as well. There was a time, in fact for many centuries, when participating in actual communion by the congregation was not practiced hardly at all. And that lasted for a long time, until in 1910, Pius X, who was sometimes called the Communion Pope, encouraged Catholics to celebrate Eucharist and to receive communion frequently, he said, even daily. We take that so much for granted. So this resurgence in the practice of a fuller participation in the celebration of Mass and frequent communion by all participants is a wonderful gift to us. But it's only been part of our, if you like, contemporary experience as a Catholic Church for 100 years or so. So this tells me that it's so important for us to foster and maintain a strong association with this sacrament. For the word communion is not just about an action that happens in the midst of the larger celebration, it's also about a relationship with our God, an amazing friendship with the risen Christ, and a relationship of responsibility and of joy with our brothers and sisters in faith. Our participation in Eucharist is then our grateful and heartfelt amen to that threefold relationship. Which leads me to one of those aspects of the sacrament of Eucharist that I mentioned in the first reflection. Eucharist, we believe, is intimately connected with mission. In the story of the Last Supper, in John's account of the Gospel, where he describes Jesus washing the feet of the apostles and says, "You know what I have done." And then he tells them, "You must also do this." Out of that, the Church has developed this wonderful and important connection between Eucharist and mission. So the words and actions of Jesus are an example, a model of how we are to be servants to each other. I'm going to use a third reflection, and I'm going to talk